Okay, I've finished installing the HEXezCAN on my 2016 BMW R1200R. It's a liquid cooled machine. This is made specifically for that. I added auxiliary brake lights, and these are the P3 boosters. Got those and installed them onto this license plate frame, and the wire runs up through this stinger to the HEXezCAN brain here that it's mounted under the seat. I'll show you that in a moment. Also, I'll take you around the bike and show you the other lights that were installed. So, let's move around here. That's where the HEXezCAN is. I have it hooked to the laptop right now, setting it up. These other two lights that I got from Super Bright LED are hanging there in the front. There's one, I actually made that bracket and bent it, and it bolts to the frame in there. Maybe hard to see because of the light. I'll put some still pictures in so you can see that. Same thing over there. There's that one. If we turn the bike on, let me get you back to the back. We set this here. I'll turn the bike on so you can see what the tail light looks like first. Okay, so through the software it's configurable whether these are on or off, and you can set how the brightness of them. Right now they're set at 10%. That's the lowest level without actually having them off as a tail light. I thought that was what matched the stock light the best, was 10%. If you roll them up any higher, it's just a little too bright and a little too overwhelming. Now if we pull the brake lever, they go to 100%, a little more attention getting than just the stock light. You can see what the hazards look like from back there. These don't blink with the hazards, but they don't seem to really interfere with it or take away from it, so that works pretty well. While the hazards are on, I'll take you around the front of the bike and show you what happens with the front lights. So this is what happens with the front. They actually blink alternate. So the front lights will blink, and then those bottom auxiliary lights I added will blink opposite those. So it makes it a lot more visible on the road. While we're up front, let's take a look at what we have here. So, shut the hazards off. So shut these off. And there's some other options we can do. We can do flash to pass. If these are on and you pull your flash to pass 3 times quickly, 1, 2, 3, they'll strobe, so it gives a little more visibility. I don't know how legal that is. That's what it looks like. Right now I have these configured to be on at like 50%. If we put on high beams, that's 100% on these lights, and of course the high beams with these. For turn signals, if we go to the left, I have it configured through the computer brain box that actually shuts this light down and blinks it as well, so it doesn't overwhelm this, so people see the blinker. That's supposed to be the idea of that. Same thing with the right, of course. What else? This also has the HEXezCAN, also gives you the capability to configure emergency stopping, so it'll do braking where if you do engine braking and roll off the throttle, it'll brake. The backlight will blink when you pull the brake. There are a few different options for that. I can't demonstrate any of them sitting still because you have to be moving. It won't flash the brake light unless you're moving. You can set the speed, but it's always got to be greater than 0. So can't demonstrate it here, but anytime you're out on the road, and they do that for nuisance braking so that you don't have so that if you're in stop-and-go traffic, every time you pull the brake, it isn't flashing and people become numb to it. So that works pretty well. Definitely got some diagnostics here that'll show you some things. I did do let me get a light going here so you can see. I put this light so you can see. I did put there's an auxiliary circuit on it, and I plugged this in so I can charge my phone. Just enough room under that seat still that I can plug my phone in and jam it right there if I want to be able to charge it. Also, if I had a tail pack or something, I could run a wire up out of there. but I put that together. That works good because it actually shuts that auxiliary off. In the software, you can configure, right there you can see on the bottom right here, you can configure the timeout for that accessory circuit. Because, for example, this thing I have plugged into here draws power all the time. You can actually see that on on the diagnostic side. You can see how much that's doing. You can set up different channels if you have an air horn and stuff. I don't have that, but you can see in this it shows. Now that is the white channel that's running this. Okay, and see how it shows the white channel is currently averaging about 0.02 amps. So I don't have my phone charging on that or anything plugged into it, and it still charges some power. So that's why it's good that if I left even if I just leave that plugged in, even if the phone's not on it, I want to, it's good that this will shut it down after 10 seconds after I shut the bike down, so it won't drain my battery. This is what I was talking about, that I have the tail light set at 10% and the brake light set at 100% when you pull the brake. There's some different options you can pick here. I'd pick this California legal because it means it'll flash it 4 times and then put the brake light on steady when you pull the brake. But it also means that it'll do engine braking. So if you just roll off the throttle, you can get engine braking as well. Now, this is where in this software you can set the different intensity. This adjusts left-right flashing intensity. I was playing with that. I'm not exactly sure what that does, but this tells you how fast you have to be going before the flashing will start. You can set that down to, you can set it up or down, and then this is how sensitive it is. I haven't tested that yet. I have to take the bike out to move it to test that. But that's basically it. That gives you an idea. I can go over and put in there where all the lights came from. I put a 10-degree light on the left, and I put a 30-degree light on the right. So the right one's looking for wildlife, and the left one's shooting way down the road for distance. So that's what I think will work best. To mention about this, there's 2 kind of hidden features that I know about. They're not really in the documentation for the HEXezCAN, but if this is on, you can, if you hold the turn signal cancel in for 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3, these lights will go out. If you hold them in for 3 seconds, so if you want to shut those off, you just hold the turn signal cancel in for 3 seconds and we turn it back on, hold it in, 1, 2, 3, and then they come back on. The other thing that's there is if you hold the wonder wheel to the left for 3 seconds and then you turn it back towards you, the lights will dim, I believe in 10% increments, and then when you turn it back up, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I had it like 60%. Yeah. And then if you just leave it for 10 seconds, it'll hold that setting. You just want to make sure we went over those 2 functions that I don't believe those are anywhere in the documentation. I found those out by watching a video online of somebody speaking in a language I couldn't understand. But I could see what he did. Another thing that happens on these is when you beep the horn, when you sound the horn, it will strobe these 2 lights on the bottom. I can't actually show you that happen right now because my wife's asleep and I don't think she'd be too happy about me honking the horn in here. But trust me, they work. It basically looks the same as that. It looks the same as that. When you honk the horn, they just strobe steady. This gives you an idea for the diagnostic screen. See how in this portion up here, it gives you what the current draws are. There's a small current draw on the white channel. That's not really cool. None of them are drawing anything right now. It shows you the peak that they have drawn, so you can set the fuses, because you can set the fuses to anything you want. I have the front one set to 5 amps because it looks like the peak was below that, so if there's ever a short or anything, those will blow electronically, but when you turn the bike off and turn it back on, they'll reset. Now we'll see if I turn the bike on, you'll see the red and the orange channel are the front lights, and they'll come on, so you'll see them go up. So it looks like they're both taking about a half an amp right now. If I put on the high beams, because they're running at 50% on the low beams, if I put on the high beams, that should jump up a little bit. There you go, went up to about 0.9 amps. You can see the yellow channel is the brake light. It's pulling about 0.23. That's because it just has the tail light on at 10%. But if I pull the brake lever, I'll pull it right now, pull the brake lever, see it goes up to about 0.2 amps. So I have the front one set at 5 amp fuse, the back one set at 2, which is plenty, and the fuse for my accessory, which is my cigarette, the cigarette lighter plug with the USB so I can charge my phone, that's set at 4 amps, which is plenty for that as well. Alright, going from low beam to high beam. That's going to be all the lights on there. Both the running lights and the high beam on the bike. That's how much it lights up the backyard. And if we go back to low beam, now of course the headlight's on, but that's with those two. And I'll show you what it looks like. I'll turn off the running lights. Alright, so here's from rider's perspective. That's what it is, and I'll turn off the auxiliary lights. There they go. So that's just the headlight, the low beam, and that is the BMW high beam. And then I'll turn the running lights back on and give you the high beam for those too. There you go, and that's those on high and the auxiliary light at 100%. So there it is with lights on, low beam, high beam, and then we'll turn off the auxiliary lights. Wait for it. There it goes. Auxiliary lights off, high beam, low beam. High beam, low beam with just the standard headlight, high beam, low beam. And then let's turn the auxiliary lights back on. There's low beam, high beam. Pretty big difference.